Hello everyone, it's Mr.Harland. Um, Today we've got a really specific video, and this should help homeowners out quite a bit. Um, Today I'm going to pretty much discuss 10 ways you can, 10 ways you can prevent a home invasion and prevent people from breaking into your house. Starting at number 10. Locking your... This is very simple to do, although people tend to have a issue with this concept because apparently common sense is disappearing in this country. Number 10 is locking your doors and windows. Oh, and covering them as well. And not to mention hiding your valuables, jewelry, any extra money just lying around in a safe. It's very easy to do, and you can buy a small little lockbox and hide it, especially from your douchebag teenagers. Because the second they learn how to steal money from you, it's very likely that they'll do it to other people. So, not only is hiding that money a great idea, especially for your teenage kids' sake, so they can learn how to earn their own money and not learn how to steal it. It's so other people don't look at your kitchen counter, potentially through your kitchen window that isn't covered or locked, and just go, oh, I'll just smash the window and just take it and I'll be on my way. Yeah. But you always want to lock your doors, your windows, and make sure your windows are covered with like some blinds or shades. Yeah, yes. Cover your windows, lock your doors, and lock those windows as well. Number 9, surveillance systems. There are lots of those out there today, but if you can find one for the cheap, at best 6 cameras, and you have them strategically placed, especially a couple. Mainly, if you want them inside your house, go right ahead, but preferably have them outside, because if they're in a position where the would-be burglar, depending on his age, can't see them, and they have the night vision ability, not only can they get a picture of his face, but you can turn that over to the police and they will get right on it. And that would be in the number 9 spot. Sorry, I had to kill a fly. But at the number 9 spot, yes, cameras, if you can afford them, install them. Or just do number 10 and use your brain, lock your doors and windows. Especially with your car, where you can't really lock your windows, but you can certainly lock your doors. Most car break-ins, especially home invasions, sometimes the windows aren't locked, and simply all the person has to do for a car, he just opens the door, and if he's stealing it, yeah, he can hotwire it. Or some people are so dumb as they'll leave their keys in the vehicle, which is just horrible. What is wrong with you? Like, seriously, what is wrong with you if you think leaving your keys in your car is a safe thing to do? But it happens. Someone will be like, oh, I'm going into the store and I gotta do it really quick. All they gotta do is just walk up to the car, they see the car's running and it's unlocked, and then boom, they're driving away with your vehicle because you chose to be stupid. And say, oh, it will only be a couple of minutes. Well, that couple of minutes will buy the person who's stealing your car quite enough time to hop in and drive away. But when it comes to cameras, you can get one put in your car, especially uh, when it comes to that kind of sense, but I don't know how that works. But mainly for the number 9 spot, you can, of this list of things to do to keep your family safe, and to prevent a home invasion, is install cameras. Or just do number 10. It's very easy to do. Number 8. Be sure that if you have a garage, be sure that if your garage has the ability to lock, every night, lock that garage door. And don't forget to lock those garage windows too, if it has windows, as they can come in through there as well. Or the good old trick of knocking on the door and pretending to be a salesman. And then they just burglarize your house that way, and they are liable to hold you at gunpoint. Such a thing has happened before in this country. And frankly, maybe a couple too many times, although it's rare, but it's not unheard of. So number 7 is being aware of your surroundings. Ultimately, that's what I'm going to put number 7 as. Be aware of where you're living at, and always be checking to check your news, check your local news, and your local police, assuming they do public reports, I don't know, but always be checking, the news, if there's someone at large burglarizing houses, or any criminal really, because, they're running from the law, and they're figuring out ways to survive. And if they're in your neighborhood and they just so happen to see your house, well, they could target your house. And some, if it's a teenager, steal a lot of your clothes, food, or if the house is vacant, steal your house. Well, not your house, really. You can't really steal someone's house unless it's squatters' rights. But I don't know very much about that. Jesus. My brain is getting foggy. We're on, number 7. Common sense and knowing your surroundings. Always being aware of that. Because, the news, especially your local law enforcement, assuming they have a Facebook page, because they're always posting stuff on there, or Twitter if they have one. Always keep a lookout on your local police station's Facebook page when it comes to wanted people, especially during these times, especially if you live in California, where crime is just through the roof, and Gavin Newsom, well, I'm not going to talk about him because, I'm just not. It's not my place to judge him, and I don't live in California. Missouri is, it's just as bad as California, but at least the people actually get sent to prison, and they aren't just released. And then they just continue the cycle, which is just, wow. It's mind-boggling when you look at California, especially when it comes to all the in-store theft and all that stuff, and nothing's really happening. But when it comes to number 7, you always want to have especially where you're living at in the neighborhood, a sense of your surrounding. You just want to have a good sense of your surrounding and knowing where you're living, and you should always, if you notice there's most police stations in this country do have a Facebook page, and you should always keep a look at it, because they will always post information about someone who's on the loose, who could be armed and dangerous. And if you're a parent, I always say, if you're thinking about your children and actually keeping them safe, uh, do steps 10, 9, and 8, and you'll be fine. Unless you can't afford a security system, then, or if you can, just simply get one with some cameras too. Or if you can't do that, just lock your doors and windows, and your garage door if it can lock, and lock your car up. Although the windows can easily be smashed, but when it comes to that, always park in a well-lit area where people are always wandering and walking around. It must be well lit, because a well lit area, no one's gonna break into your car if it's well lit. So for number 7, have common sense and a sense of your surrounding as to where you live, and always check your local police station's Facebook page or Facebook group, and always take a look at the news and just be aware of what's going on in your neighborhood, especially if it has a neighborhood watch. Be aware and always check with your neighborhood watch if they do have that. Okay, so now number 6, security systems or burglar alarms. There are many of them on the market today, and believe it or not, the burglar alarm came about in the 1860s. Oh wait, no, it was the 1880s. So it's perhaps some of the oldest stuff in this country ever invented. Although, because technology is advanced, it's probably way better than it was when it was first invented in the 1800s. You have Google Nest. I think it's called Google. I don't know, but someone will... Yeah, somebody in the comments section, if you watch this video, please let me know what it is, because I cannot think of it off the top of my head. You have ADAT, I think it's called. I don't know. ADD? I don't know. But then there's Stanley, burglar alarms, and then you have your Nest system. Yeah, I cannot think of some of the names off the top of my head, but there's a lot of companies who will provide you with an in-house security system. And should someone break into your home and your windows have sensors on them, or somehow open one of your doors, a loud alarm will sound, and it will not only make the burglar shit his pants, they're liable to run out of the house. Because would you really want to stay in a home that has this loud alarm going off like a car alarm, or the alarm that goes that loud sound like that? Yeah, I wouldn't. And these alarms can also automatically contact the police for you, and as far as I know, they can give them your home's address, so you don't have to call them. So number 6, for the number 6 spot, when it comes to security systems, I always would say if you should have one, but not very many people in the public can afford them. But there should be, in my opinion, legislation passed where everyone can afford one. It should be made affordable, and it's also public safety, you know. Or figure out a way to prevent burglaries and home invasion in the first place. So if you can, install an in-home security system. Number 5. Ooh, this one's gonna be a little bit oof. If the home invader just so happens to be defenseless, most of them are. Most of them are going to have a weapon on them, either it's a knife or a gun, or in some cases... Oh, I remember hearing about this one. He had a baby's rattle. Yes, you heard me correctly. A baby's toy, like a rattle. And he thought that was going to hurt the homeowner, when in fact the homeowner knew Taekwondo, and he kicked his ass. Who do you think won? The burglar with the baby rattle? No, I'm sorry. It was the person who knew Taekwondo. And that person is probably thinking in prison going, why did I do that? Why did I have a baby rattle on me? And I tried to fight someone who knew Taekwondo, even though I didn't know they knew Taekwondo. But if you're in your home and you come face to face with this person, well, and say for instance, he's not armed with any weapons. Well, if you know Taekwondo and you really want to give that person a peace of mind, yeah, go right ahead, be my guest. Kick his ass with Taekwondo. And shit, if you're Bret Hart, put him in the sharpshooter. And have your wife or kid call the police. While someone is getting their back wrenched and they're begging you to let them go and they promise they'll never come back, which is bullshit. Yeah. Or if you have a gun, and there's a thing called castle defense. Castle defense, the best form of home protection you can have. Oh yes. If you have that gun or taser, or a gun, you can shoot them. I mean, it's your house. They're in your house. However, if they're outside, some states will, I don't know how it works, but some states will prosecute you for something if they're not in your house. But if they're in your house, they're free game. They are free game. I will have to do some more studying on that because, gee, I just should, and so should you, the American general public. But I have just lost my place, so number 7... Security systems. Ah, yes, number 6. Number 6. I believe this is number 6. If they are unarmed, but lots of the time they are, and you can't reach the phone in time, or if someone's on the phone and you have to defend your house or castle, as some laws will put it, feel free to just blast away. Like how a battleship does it. Yes, blast away at them. And even if they do unfortunately pass, you defended your house, they were in your house, you didn't allow them in, you don't know who they are, you have every right to defend your home and your family. But if he doesn't have any weapons, there is the old-fashioned way of stopping someone. It's called you beat them up. And, if you have a teenage son, and the home invader just so happens to be another teenager who's not armed, because some people are just, well, stupid, and they legitimately have not a clue what a firearm is, or any weapon, really. And they think, oh, I'm so brazen, I'm going to get into your house with no weapon whatsoever, and I'm just going to do something. Yes. Yeah. let's just say, if that, we'll say, teenage son is the only one who's brave enough to fight that other teenager, and let's just say, oh, that mom or dad is blessed with a son who's big and tall with lots of muscle because he's probably on the wrestling team. Yeah, I would not mind being the son of that, well, the mother and father of the idiotic person who just so happens to be our kid to try and break, who had the, well, the courage and the balls to break into a person's house and not expected to get his ass kicked by someone in the house or shot, to be defeated and then arrested if he's alive. Yeah. If you can, defend your house. It is your house. And if you don't know who that person is that's in your house, you have every right to kick that person's ass. Or if you can, barricade yourself in a room and call the police. And if you have a gun, have it ready. Have it ready. Remember those words. Have that shit ready. Because if they try to break down that door and you have to do what you must, you will have to shoot. Or if you have a taser, well, just tase the crap out of them until the police come. But just to let you know, when you get electrocuted, it is very likely that, let's just say, that person being tased might go to the bathroom on themselves. Specifically, urinating. So, once that guy's arrested and the police have a way to get in and they get the guy, you may want to spend some money and clean that up, because the house is going to stink. Like, well, urine. Because the burglar went to the bathroom on your floor while being electrocuted by a taser. I believe we're at number 5 now. Number 5. Don't leave anything of value. Oh wait, I already talked about that. Always know who you're letting in the house. And not only that, just keep a lookout for suspicious looking people, and always teach your kids of, especially stranger danger, especially if there are helpful ones there, because there are people who are, well, deceiving, but teach your kids especially about stranger danger, but more importantly, if you're going to have a family, you should always keep a lookout for suspicious looking people, as there are lots of them in this country. And yeah, especially you should always be in your kids' business either way, especially if they're a teenager. Be in their business, bug them a lot, because it's very likely that that person who the police are unable to identify could be your own child, which is scary. That's a scary thought. You raised your kid, but now they're going to juvenile detention or prison because they wanted to do something stupid, like break into another person's house and just be stupid. But there's loads of ways you can prevent this from happening. How about actually parent your kid and don't go, oh, it's not my fault they were a delinquent. It's absolutely, in my opinion, the parents' fault, because if they don't want to teach their kid right from wrong, well, they're gonna think they're gonna do whatever the hell they want, and, well, if they're that much of a delinquent, then you might as well smack them. Although I don't promote this. Sometimes a good spanking will go quite a bit of ways, although a lot of people are just like, oh, that's abuse. It's like, not necessarily. It can be abuse, however, if you have, well, if you're a douchebag and you are a truly, truly horrible person, then it could be abuse. But if you're punishing a child, then really I shouldn't be speaking on this because I don't know. But there are proper ways to parent your kid. I'm just not going to get involved in that because then people are going to be like, you're a loser, you're a snowflake and this stuff like that. But it's like, ultimately, yeah, just be aware of suspicious people. And one thing, parent your child. That's all I gotta say. Because your child could be one of these people burglarizing people's homes someday. Because you don't want to teach your child right from wrong. Yeah, I can't think of anything else, but you always want to be on the lookout for suspicious looking people in your neighborhood. And do some of the other stuff. Yeah. Number 4. Oh, yes. Be always aware of where you are, especially if you have a vacation home. When it comes to vacation homes, you should do these things. Number 1, make sure they're locked. Number 2, don't leave any valuable things in plain sight. I cannot tell you how many times people will be like, oh, we have a vacation home. But then they find out, oh, it was burglarized by some local teenage delinquent in their state or from out of state. And anything like, oh, say, laptop money, food, clothing, something that could be pawned was stolen. Because, well, the doors were unlocked, and the windows weren't covered, and you leave valuable stuff out in plain view. If you have a vacation home, always make sure the windows are locked. Your doors are locked. Nothing of valuable or value is just left on the counters, and don't leave any food in the fridge. Because if you live in California, that burglar could very well be a bear with her cubs. Yeah. That brazen burglar could be a bear that's hungry. You do not mess with a bear that is hungry. Especially if it's the mama bear. Oh no, if it's the mama bear. If you're in that vacation home or just your regular house and you leave a window open, the bear, all it has to do is just pop the screen open, crawl in your house, and steal your food. So if you live in a place where there's bears being spotted roaming around, close your windows, don't leave any food in your trash cans, don't leave any food in your car. especially when it comes to, well, human burglars besides bears and raccoons and other stuff like that. Well, man, I guess you could say a raccoon is a classic form of a home invader when it comes to animals because, well, it has like a black stripe on their face, and I guess you could say, yeah, burglars are nature's, um, raccoons are nature's burglars. Or trash pandas. And they may be very cute, but they are very aggressive. And they can kill you if they get near your neck. So never leave any food out in plain view, no valuables, just like I mentioned before. When it comes to vacation homes, just don't leave anything out, just sitting. Clean up after yourself, don't leave any food on the floor, don't leave it out in plain view, don't leave it in the fridge. Because if that burglar wants something to eat, they're liable to look in the fridge and eat your food. So just don't do it. Just throw it away and make sure it's disposed of so nature's burglars, the bear and the raccoon, don't put trash all over the ground by knocking the trash can over and digging through it and eating it, because you'll get a citation from the city saying, oh, you didn't clean this up, or oh, you're littering. Yeah, don't need that unnecessary fine. And if you must, install cameras in that vacation home. Number 3. Oh, this one's going to be, oof, a little bit extreme, but it's come to pretty much, I guess you could say, the attention of the country that since, I guess, the 90s, there's been a noticeable change in slightly younger folk, specifically juveniles getting in trouble with the law. Either it's robbing a gas station, breaking into homes, or some other stuff, like stealing bikes and some other stuff like that. You should always, like I said before, bug your kid and as to what they're doing. Keep bugging them, harass them. Well, not harass them, but keep asking them what they're doing after, school. And know who they're hanging out with. Please, just, dear God, you should know who they're hanging out with because, well, you're a parent and you should have every right to know. Because if they look suspicious, you have every right to tell that child, oh, I don't like the looks of them, I don't like the way they're speaking, I don't want you to be around them. Because chances are, due to peer pressure, that your son or daughter could fall in with them and do things such as vandalism, delinquency, burglary. Yeah. And if you have dreams of that kid going to college, well, it's not going to happen if they decide to kill someone, or B, they steal a car or rob someone at gunpoint, and then, well, there goes their life. Yeah, they ruined their life because, well, they fell into a bad crowd, and now they're burglarizing homes and stealing food, stealing things. They're refusing to tell you what they're doing. They're keeping secrets. Oh, yes. And they're lying. people are probably going to be like, but my son would never do that. My son would never steal a car or a boat, or an airplane, or a jet ski, or a bike, or a motorcycle. Believe me, if your kid wants to be bad, or, well, you just have a crappy husband who, well, he's like, I can do whatever I want, and the law ain't gonna stop me. Well, guess what? They will. Now, they won't go to the extremes of sending a warship after you, but if you're in one of those countries where they could do that, like, I don't know, maybe Russia or North Korea, yeah, they'll probably do that because they don't like lawbreakers one bit, and I'm pretty sure in Russia and North Korea, the lawbreakers are executed. Thank God we live in the US. Or in Saudi Arabia, if you get caught stealing something, they chop your hand off. And if you steal something else, they chop your other hand off. Wow. Yeah. But here in the US, we are more civil. It's called, you get a court case. Not only that, you have a lawyer who's appointed to you if you cannot afford one, your rights. Oh, and you have rights, yes. And if you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you, which is another good thing about this country. It's just there needs to be some reform for nonviolent offenders. Lots of it. But burglars and other lawbreakers can be prevented by simply just teaching your child right from wrong at birth. Because that's how some of these people are created. Come on. And the teenage delinquents, especially the ones who think they're outlaws, who are way more smarter than the police. Sorry, there's no real way you can be smarter than the police, especially now. But then you have those ones who are like, oh, I'm going to do the most daring thing of all time. I know, I'm going to steal an airplane. In the post 9/11 era. Yeah. This really did happen. And there's a documentary about it. It's called Fly, Cold Fly. Ultimately, I think it's the worst documentary out there, mainly just due to some of it not being true, and the real guy himself, Colton Harris, more debunking some of the crap. And I ultimately give the book. I had the book, Fly, Cold Fly. I got it from a friend, but I gave it right back to him because I thought the book was terrible. And the animation in that documentary was terrible. And it seems like they insinuated that the person to whom they were talking about, or at least the animated version of Colton, there are some obvious animation errors, from his face disappearing, to him having no eyebrows, and finally multiple different shots to where it shows like, to where it looks like he's mooning the police. Yes. I saw that, and I was like, oh, I don't want to see a butt crack. Oh, God, what is wrong with the animators? I know he's a teenage delinquent, but Jesus. We don't need to get that extreme, people. We don't need to show butts. That's, ew, no. We don't want to see that. And the live actor, Jesus, he's drawing something in the sand, and his underwear is hanging out. No one wants to see that. Nobody wants to know what kind of underwear you're wearing anyhow. Jesus Christ. Especially since some teenagers nowadays are doing that in high school, and I seen that quite a bit when I was in high school, and I'm like, pull up your pants, you bum. Ugh, Jesus. And most people don't think that's embarrassing, and some people are like, oh, it's cool to do that. It's like, no, it is not. That's what a bum does. And yeah. And some of these teenage delinquents don't know what it's like to be a hard-working person who's making that money for their family. So they might as well learn at a young age the right and wrong. Yeah, just teach your kids right from wrong. It's that easy to do. And just bug them about what they're doing. And I think every parent should, friends they have. I think you should always know that's your right as a parent to know what your kid is doing. Uh, we're at number 3. So number 2. Number 2, yes. Your basement. The basement windows. Oh, believe it or not, a person could climb through one if they really wanted to. So be sure those windows are locked as well and covered. And if you really want to invest in, say, a security alarm, go right ahead, be my guest. But all I have to say is just be wary of. Actually, my advice is set a budget. Make a budget. How much are you willing to spend on making improvements security-wise to your house? How much money do you wish to spend? So just make a plan. Um, and be smart about it. Be smart. Use your common sense. And you can't teach common sense, I think. I don't know. But just be smart about what you're doing. That's all I have to say. I'm probably not the most knowledgeable when it comes to this kind of stuff, and there's probably people out there who could give you the best advice when it comes to getting a security alarm for your house, but ultimately, if you must, you could own a fire alarm. A firearm, not fire alarm. What would you need a fire alarm for? Jesus. You could own a firearm, but you'll need a permit. And simply having a gun lock on it, that goes through it, and you keep it hidden. And most importantly, take those gun safety classes, because you'll be saving your kid's life, and, I don't care if kids are curious or not, you can hide it, and if you lock the door to your bedroom and keep the key on you at all times, and you're raising your kid right, you shouldn't have any problems. But ultimately, I cannot think of anything else. And I'm ultimately doing the best I can on thinking of what you can do. But ultimately, if you have money laying around, if you have money, just why are you having it laying around? Go put it in the bank. And I can't really think of anything else, but on number 3, alright, well, number 2, Um, Ultimately, this may be similar to some of the other things I mentioned, but if you have other people in your house and you're living with other people, you should always, especially roommates, you should always, well, if you have roommates, and then you should always be aware, you should know who they're letting into their house, like especially friends, you should know who they are. And just pay attention as to what they're doing, because if you find they're suspicious, you have every right to kick them out of your house. Like, oh, say, you witness them start to steal some of your toilet paper, silverware, or anything else, or money. Kick them out of your house, and if you really feel the need to, report them to the police and have them trespassed. I can't think of anything else, but other than that, yes, you should be aware of who you're letting in your house. Don't be dumb about it. I cannot tell you how many times people are like, oh, do this to us. Even people you know and have let in your home, they're liable to just go, oh, I like what this person has. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to steal it because they gave me a key to their home, as they're so oblivious as to what I'm going to do. Yeah. You should be aware of also who you're letting in your house. Just always. Always. And finally, for number 1, think about owning a firearm. You will need a permit. I would advise anyone who's thinking about buying a firearm taking safety courses, classes, and learning proper ways to be a proper law-abiding owner. Those safety classes are going to come really good, and training on how to take care of it, clean it, maintain it, and how to not be dumb. Because if you've seen those news stories where a kid's accidentally shot and killed because well, they wanted to play with that firearm, well, ultimately I think it should be the firearm owner's, well, the gun owner's fault, because, well, you left it out on the table or out in the open where that curious kid will play with it and they're dead. Or an animal, or someone is being severely injured or dead. So you don't have to own a firearm, but if you so choose to defend your castle, as your house is described sometimes, keep it locked up, very well hidden, and if you are going to have it in a giant safe, hide that code and make it a hard code that they will not be able to figure out, especially your unsuspecting teenager who one day could very well turn out to be one of these burglars that you hear about. But yes, being responsible, very responsible, comes in handy quite a bit, and you won't become a statistic. Yes, a statistic, I said that. But now, yeah, I can't think of anything else, but there's probably very much better informative lists besides myself. But I can't really think of anything. And I feel worn out and tired. That's what you get when you work 5 straight days as a sanitation worker in a giant warehouse, cleaning aisle after aisle, picking up other people's trash because they're too lazy to do it themselves. But I will be making 4 videos today because why not? And I missed last Monday's videos because, well, it's Labor Day, and I wanted to celebrate Labor Day, like everyone else should. But yes, that'll be it for today's video. I hope you learned something, even though I'm not the smartest person when it comes to that kind of stuff. But there are other YouTubers out there who will provide that advice, and multiple informational videos and stuff like that on YouTube and things on Google, such as typing in how to keep your house safe from burglars. Man, it's very simple to do. Well, not so simple if you're going to spend a lot of money, but yeah, other than that, that'll be it for today's video. And as one YouTuber put it, we shall be doing this very soon again, my friends. I like that saying. Yes. everyone. See you next video.